let's get the majority of our work done before we have kids, and try and build, investments or whatever so that we can enjoy time with them. And that's what we did. I mean, there were lots of times with Nectarline Electric, the real estate apartments, and then the dumpster company, where I would wake up at 4 a.m, run to the landfill, dump the dumpster, go to work at Nectarlines, deliver the dumpster right after work, and then go to the residential properties, and rehab them or whatever, get home at midnight and do it all over again. So, I mean, the first part of our marriage probably wasn't great or maybe that's why it lasted so long.
Right, yeah, you never know.
We weren't there for the beginning, and now we have kids, so we're busy with that. So when the kids are gone, I don't know what it'll look like, but...
All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Town Grit. I'm Corey Haubs, your host today, and I got a special guest, Chad Ross with Holvick Associates. So welcome, Chad, to our episode here today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. I've been watching from day one. I think I've seen every episode.
Oh, thanks.
I haven't finished them all. Adam and Noah, I didn't finish theirs. It got pretty boring, but
oh man,
I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, that was actually a very good business talk. I think that was like our first true we talk about the business and the structure of that. Yeah. So that was good.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed with what they've done. I mean, obviously Adam was with me at Nectarline Electric for years. He was an apprentice. I think I was already a journeyman when he started. So we worked together a lot. And then I always knew he was going to leave. I mean, he's kind of an entrepreneurial guy. We always talked about investments every day, and I remember he was early into Sirius XM, or when it was just Sirius, and then him and Keith, another guy from Reese, created this magnetic motor, and he had the production model or whatever. He brought it into work and showed me how to get it started and stuff, and so yeah, he was an interesting guy. And then I've known Noah forever too.
We've known all those guys. We're both Reese grads, class of '98.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So all the way back to St. Michael's, my uncle coaching everybody. And I was riding around with him going to your games. So
So that's how we kind of knew each other. And I was, if you didn't know this, I always looked up to you in high school because your dad was an electrician and kind of he was a builder too, kind of had his own thing. And then you kind of follow his ways, and you went to trade school right in high school, right?
Yeah. Started out, the Tuscola ISD, in the construction program there. And then after high school, I was working with Nectarline Electric during high school. I think I was 15 when I started. My dad drove me on the weekends in summertime to his jobs,
Yeah.
So I started with them, and then right after high school, I continued with them, and from day one, pretty much was running projects. They would put a journeyman on the job with me to have the journeyman card, but I was already so familiar with reading prints and everything from working there for 3 years. So
now we talk about kids nowadays and trades, and back when we went to school, they didn't promote trades. It was college prep classes. I mean, that was probably a hard decision for you to kind of go into the trades, or maybe it wasn't at that time. Maybe
it was. I mean, I knew college wasn't for me. I already had ambitions to get into real estate and not as a salesperson, but as an investor. Owning physical real estate, and there were. Some of our friends even said, I was crazy, you're never going to make as much as if you get a college degree or whatever, and the comments of, oh, you're making good money now because, I had a nice car after high school and different things, and it's, everybody else was at school and scraping by basically, so they're like, oh, it's going to equal out someday. I'll be making more, and well,
right.
Some maybe, but others
you
not,
never know.
So you never know.
Thank you to our sponsors. IRD Homes, Mid-Michigan's top contractor, bringing new builds and renovations to life. Timber Oaks. Timber Oaks offers customized lawn and landscape solutions and is a premier Mid-Michigan lawn care company. Link Excavation, your Mid-Michigan excavating experts, serving Bay, Tuscola, Saginaw, Huron, and Genesee counties. So you worked at Nectarlines there, and then I don't know if it was during high school or right after high school. You did your first property investment.
Yeah, it would be right after high school. So I was I think I was 20 when I started that, because I know I had my 21st birthday while construction. Took
okay.
a couple days off after that, but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I bought. My grandparents lived on Main Street in Reese in the big brick house, just down from it was Hills RV at the time. Now I think it's
Dollar General.
Dollar General,
Yeah.
Yep. And they had a lot next to it, and my dad's like, oh, since you didn't go to college and didn't have to pay for that, I'll help you. I'll give you the labor to help build a house or whatever. And I'm like, well, maybe I should do a duplex so I can rent the other side out and live in the other half. So I went to my grandparents, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll sell it, to you for $5,000. And I'm like, great. And my dad's like, no, you're not getting a sweetheart deal. You're going to pay $25,000. I'm like, well, thanks, Dad. So
Yeah.
So I bought the lot from them, and then my dad and I built it from the ground up. We even bought the backhoe to dig the hole.
Oh, okay.
So bought a backhoe, all the tools I needed to build it. He had all the tools, but he wanted me to buy the tools, so I had them, myself. And so we built that, and I finished it when I was 21. So we had a ton of equity in it, because did everything ourselves except for the mechanical. I didn't understand ductwork and everything that went with that. But so I had a ton of equity in it, and then I just took that equity and got a line of credit, and then I bought another duplex in Bridgeport. And then a lot of my success, honestly, is based on timing of the market, because shortly after 2007, 8, and 9, the real estate market crashed.
Yeah.
And I had all this equity in the 2 properties that I had, basically. Because I improved the duplex and refinanced that and stuff. But all these 4-unit apartment buildings in Bridgeport, started coming up for sale for like $15,000, $20,000. So where people were paying $40,000 a door at the top of the market, I was getting them for $5,000 a door.
Right.
So I bought up as many as I could. And at one point we got up to about 60 doors, so 60 units.
That's crazy.
On the residential side.
I always tell my wife I never want to get in the residential market. Is that a tough market to get a check every month from?
Yeah, that's why I'm out of it now. So we're all commercial now at this point. But 2010, my wife Deanna said, "This is it. You're gone too much."
Yeah.
Getting phone calls in the middle of the night for stupid stuff. Like the one time a lady was in her bathtub and the washcloth somehow got clogged in the drain, and she was filling up the tub, so she wasn't in it yet. At least I think so, But she calls me on the phone. She's like, "My tub is clogged up and it's about to overflow." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how is that even possible? And I'm like, "Did you turn the water off?" She's like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, turn the water off and it won't overflow." So I'm like, "Turn the water off," and she did, and she's like, "Okay, it's not going to go over the top now." Right. I'm like, "Well, I realize that, and I'm like, I'll come out tomorrow and take a look at it." And I get there, and there's a washcloth going down the drain, and
jeez.
It was just stuff like that, the way they treated the property is another one. You'd remodel and make it nice, and then they'd move out, and you have to do it all over again. So it affected cash flow and everything else.
Yeah, because you got to put money right back into it.
Right back into
instead
it.
of moving on.
Yeah, so my wife had the bright idea of buying mini storage, and at the time I'm like, we're not worth enough, or we don't make enough to get that kind of financing,
Right.
And, well, she's like, you never know until you ask, and so we went to the credit union and asked them, and sure enough, they approved us for a loan for the first storage facility, and then I found out that they love financing storage facilities because less than 3% of them fail.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it's a really safe, investment for them.
Yeah.
To finance them. So then it was pretty easy after that to get financing for the rest of them. So yeah.
How many do you have now?
We have 6 locations, so a little over 1,000 units.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And my wife is realizing that it's more work than a residential because it's a 7-day-a-week thing.
Yeah.
So it's weird, because on holidays, kids are back home with their parents, their aged parents, and they're like, all right, it's time to move you to a facility or whatever it is, but we got to clean your house out. So they call, like on Christmas, the day after Christmas or whatever, Thanksgiving, the Friday, Saturday after that, it's really big for people filling. So somebody has to be on the phone 7 days a week. So we have, a lady that answers the phone most of the time now.
Okay.
But while she was doing it, because that's what she quit her job to do, is manage our storage facilities. she realized real quickly that this is more work. I mean, not more because I was gone working on the residential stuff. You don't have to be gone. We can do everything over the phone with the storage facilities, but rather than kind of picking and choosing other than emergencies when to go out there, now you're tied to the phone pretty much every day.
Yeah, so. I remember when Deanna quit her job and, she went full time, with a business you guys had there. I'm like, man, that's crazy that, because she was making good money what she was doing. And I was like, but I mean, like you said, it's a 7-day, 24 hours. I mean, you're getting calls and, at the early part, when you first start your business, you're involved every day. There's nobody else. It's like you eat, sleep this business.
Yeah, 100%.
And really, maybe it was at some point that you didn't have a choice. Like, it's like, all right, well, we need to either 100% into this storage facility or your job, or we need to hire somebody, or we got to figure something out, because I'm sure it got to that point.
Yeah, it did. And this was pre-COVID where nobody worked from home. Now everybody does, but that was the other thing. She was going to be able to work from home and get our kids to school and go to school functions throughout the day. Yeah. And kind of give them a different environment other than daycare to grow up in. Right. So that was the other deciding factor. But one, I always said, if our investments can supplement what we're making in our jobs, then why are we going to work every day, looking for somebody else? So that's kind of what we've always built to was, our investments are covering this expense, and then this next investment is covering this expense. And when we have all the expenses covered, we're somewhat free. You're tied to your business still, but you can make the schedule yourself a little bit more than you could working for somebody.
So you guys launch your storage units. Yep. You're working at Nectar Line. At what point do you transition? Because that
there was a lot more than just that. I mean, so while we were there, I also started a dumpster rental company.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because that was when I was living next to you. So
you were my neighbor for a little while. Yep. That was another project too.
That was a project.
I mean, I think you paid like $25,000 for that house next to me, and I'm like, man, they should have just tore that thing down.
Yeah, we should have. I wish you would have said that from day one, because we were in there. That was weird. That's where I learned to do inspections before you buy anything, and actually go into the attic and stuff. Because once we got into it and we looked and we went in the attic, and the roof trusses were literally pine logs, and not ones that were shaved. They were still round,
real logs,
6-inch diameter and stuff, and. So my dad and I are in there. He helped me again, thankfully. But we're in there basically building a hip roof inside of a existing roof, So we're in there with a jack trying to straighten the roof up, as we're going and stuff. And that was a nightmare. That's the only real estate project that I've lost money on. I had to walk to the closing table selling this house with a $20,000 check to finish the
Somebody
deal,
told me that it was originally an old fruit stand. I don't know if that's true or not, but
looking at it, because we had got it all the way in, I think it was probably. But that was an interesting project, and
that's funny.
Yeah, but it turned out. I mean, it turned out nice, and
it is. It was. Thanks for reinvesting in our neighborhood.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Luckily, that was my only loss so far to date. I don't want to jinx myself, but that was.
How do you get in the investment part of it now?
Yeah, that's
a whole different world than I'm involved in.
Yeah, it kind of ties back to everything before that. So I was 36, and going back to once our investments exceed our income from our current job, we can quit. Well, I was 36 years old, so that would have been 8 years ago. I went in and I met with Gary Holvick, my partner, and I was referred in there and they're like, this guy's different than all the other financial advisors, and because everyone that I went to, they're talking about what they can get you into and stuff, and here's the potential returns, and it's like, well, it doesn't beat anything I'm doing right now, so why invest anything, so I went to him, and he had a little different strategy. He's more about planning. So he doesn't care, what you bring for investments to him. He does fee-based planning. Well, I should say we do fee-based planning because I'm there now too. So we charge a fee to do planning, primarily for investors and business owners. Meeting with him and just talking, he had a huge disconnect with, because he's always been the Wall Street, investments, and I'm more of a Main Street investor. So there was a synergy there because he's had a disconnect, talking with the real estate investors, and kind of the same thing, as with me. I went in and I'm like, if you can beat my returns, I'll throw some money your way. But if you can't, then why put money into something that's risky that I can't control, and probably has a lower return than what I get. So he's like, no, that makes total sense, and long story short, I mean, we had a lot of conversations about it, and I agreed. I'm like, well, I'm transitioning out of what I was doing, and this is something I can give it a try, and 8 years later, we're still rolling, and primarily focused now on exit planning for business owners. We do a lot of the, whether they're selling to third party, internal transfer to key employees, family succession. We build out the tax efficiency of all three scenarios. There's other ones too, like ESOPs, which is huge in the construction industry, where you end up selling to your employees at some part. You grow big enough and you have enough employees that can support the structure of an ESOP. You sell to them, and then the sale of the business is totally tax-free to the owner.
Oh, okay.
Because you're selling to a qualified plan, basically like a 401k. An ESOP is a qualified plan where the profits from the business flow back into the company tax-free for the company. And then that gets distributed to all the employees based on, salaries and stuff. So the ones that are running the business, more of the profits are allocated to their retirement plan than the day-to-day workers.
Okay.
So we do that a lot. I mean, that's probably the biggest market we're doing right now, because the government has put some great incentives in for it, because they realize Social Security and individual retirement savings are not working. So they're really incentivizing businesses to sell to their employees, so they have another retirement plan for everybody that's going to end up on Social Security.
Is that pretty common, to sell to employees?
It is, once the business owner learns how it works and what the process is. Because a lot of them, they're like, well, it's my son that's running the business. I want him to, have the same life that I had.
Yeah.
And they can. I mean, the ones running the ESOP can, and they're going to get another sale, when they sell their shares back to the ESOP, basically, because you're earning shares throughout your working life, and then you sell it back to the ESOP. So you've got a guaranteed buyer. And in the construction industry, selling a business is difficult. I mean,
it is, yeah.
Because anybody can open up a construction company, it seems like, and start and be a competitor. For some of the businesses, that's probably the best way to go, if you can scale big enough, and have enough employees to support it. Because you have to have 25 employees minimum to make the numbers work.
Okay.
And there's a certain level of, EBITDA profitability that you have to have, and gross sales and stuff. But most construction companies meet that, but they don't have the employee count, So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but that's kind of our specialty. So we build out the exit itself, and then the post-exit, everybody wants to know, well, what is my income after exit going to look like? Where does the money come from? How can I spend it,
Right.
So we build that out for them too. And then that leads to kind of estate planning, because a lot of them sell and they're worth more than the estate exemption. So we're building out different trust structures and stuff so that they can pass it efficiently to the next generation without having to pay estate taxes and stuff like that. So
I don't know about you, but that sounds like pretty involved. I'm not gonna lie. That's way out of my world.
Yeah, it is.
So.
I mean, I enjoy it though. I mean, that's kind of where I was always at. I love the business aspect and everything it takes to build a business, which is probably why I knew early on that I could never be an engineer or anything like that and work my whole life. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's a huge need for that, but it just wasn't me. I couldn't work for somebody.
Yeah.
So I just, like you probably, went to Barnes and Nobles and got books on different types of businesses.
What was it? How to do whatever by dummies.
Yeah, by dummies. Yeah, that's they make it for everything.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. How to frame a house by dummies. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
I never even thought about an exit strategy probably till the last 2 or 3 years, like we talked about earlier. And then we hired Joe from EOS, and he came in and kind of rooted our plan some systems for us. And Brian came in and implemented them all. And we've never been. Procedures, I think, that's really important in business. I never thought of it because I just, when you're in the day to day, you just wake up and you just do it.
Yeah. 100%.
But as you grow and you got other people involved and other employees and managers, and everybody has to be on the same page, and until you have those systems, and now it's like, all right, well, can this business run without me?
Yep.
And I think that's probably what you probably talk to your clients too. To have a value, can can this business run without you? I
Yep.
mean, I'm like, what's the whole process for somebody that wants to engage on an exit strategy?
Yeah.
Is it more than just, all right, I'm retiring. How do I get out of here?
No, that's usually what it starts with, because they always come too late. They're like, I realize I want to be out by the end of this year. It's like, well, all right, let's have a deep conversation, because it's probably not going to work this year, because of that. I mean, most business owners, their name is on the wall.
Yeah.
And they're the one who has all the relationships, and they haven't given up that control, at this point for whatever reason. And that's number one. It's okay. If you walk away today, will the business run? Will every customer stay with you? Who's the relationship guy now? Because that's the biggest thing, So if that hasn't been done, then we have to have a dose of reality given to them.
Yeah.
And hey, you've probably got 3 years that you're gonna have to stay in this and work on that transition now, because it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Typically, if they're at that point where everything's done, then we can move to the exit planning. If not, then we have to kind of explain what to do. We don't go in like Joe and implement the processes and stuff. That's a whole nother business that would
it is.
take
It
up
really
way too
is.
much time, But once that's done and they're ready to transition and they need to have a creative structure to the exit to create more tax efficiencies, that's where we come in, because there's a boilerplate way to do it, which most of them do, and then there's a way to structure the deal so that both sides can.
The government wants our money, don't they? It's even like real estate, capital gains. Is any opportunity they can get a few dollars, they're going to get it.
But there's also they seem to leave loopholes for themselves. And so if you can learn those loopholes, you can benefit.
So do you think
greatly.
since COVID happened, it's been real important for people to retire early or enjoy life, or
I think it was eye-opening for a lot of people. Especially the shutdowns, the ones that weren't critical to the economy and had to actually shut their doors for a while. Since then, the biggest thing is employees, finding employees. It seems, and I don't know why, it was never an issue before. Maybe it's because everybody was able to stay home for a while and realized, that a 5-day-a-week work week isn't what they want, Since then, with the employment issues and everything else, even the supply chain issues, everybody's like, I've been doing this for 30 years, whatever, I don't want to do it anymore. Can I do this? And the biggest question is not, can I sell the company because it's worth something, but is it enough, for me, because I'm only in my 50s or early 60s, what if I lived in 90? So we run math models and everything on that to realistically tell them, here's the lowest amount of risk that you have to take to meet your needs, And for some people, it's, they can do it all with municipal bonds, which is almost 100% guaranteed. You'll have the tax-free income from it because it's government-backed, And then there's other ones that have to, mix the portfolio with equities or structured notes or private debt, private lending. There's lots of markets out there that we have access to, So
what other, you got Holvick Associates. You have a few other avenues that you also do?
So just because we work with business owners, there's a lot more opportunities for them than W-2 employees. So we've got Holvick and Associates is a wealth management arm. So that's kind of the traditional wealth management, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, municipal or muni bonds, kind of everything traditional. And then we have Advanced Business Partners. That's the arm that does the exit planning and all the planning. That's the one where we charge fees for our services and stuff. And then we have Brick House Consulting is another one that's a self-directed 401k. So we've got a lot of business owners that don't like the market for whatever reason. They get, like I said earlier, you get better returns with the business that they created, and they want to mirror that, with their investments, but not be involved. So that's a self-directed 401k kind of gets you that access, so you can own anything inside of a 401k aside from antiques and collectibles. So most plans, like your employer plans or employee plans, the business owner doesn't want to take the risk to offer all of that. So they just do, mutual funds basically, because there's no risk in that. But anybody can own anything inside the 401k. Okay. So we go in and we kind of set up the 401k structure for them so that they have access to it and all their employees do. And there are certain waivers the employee can sign if they do want to do that says, hey, I'm taking the fiduciary responsibility off of the business owner, putting it on myself because I want to own physical real estate in my 401k. So we build that out for them, and then they can invest in, other businesses. They can do private lending, which is a big one. They like to just lend their money to other businesses. Or I got one guy that lends his money to a used car dealer so that he can keep his inventory or have more inventory. And then, every time a car sales or at the end of the month, depending on sales, he gets some back, and then he loans it right back out at a different interest rate. And I own a bunch of single family homes down in Flint that I've never seen. Couldn't even tell you the address of them or anything. But I know a guy down there that fixes them up, rents them. I pay for them. I pay for everything. He handles all the rental management stuff and just sends my 401k a check at the end of the month. Okay. So.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yep.
Something that's not normal or you hear about it every day.
No, and that's what I really partner with Gary was to start that part of the business. Versus everything else, because he had everything else handled, the exit planning and stuff. But I fell in love with the exit planning, so I've worked towards that. I don't really do anything on the investment side. He does all of the Wall Street stuff. I handle all the Main Street investments.
Okay.
So he's got there's a Wolf of Wall Street movie. I got a T-shirt that says Wolf of Main Street. So
obviously, you and Deanna have been married for how many years now?
I
put you on the spot.
2005, so 19 years this year in July. So yeah,
nice.
Yep, it's easy because my 2005, my son was born in 2010. So they're easy years to remember.
Yeah. And you have a son and a daughter.
Yep.
And then how old are they?
My son Brevin is 14, and McKenna, she'll be 11 the end of this month, actually. Okay. Yeah, I had to think because it's May, so
right.
It's the end of this month.
So how do you? I mean, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
How do you find that balance between business and home life and?
My parents always made an effort. They had me young. I mean, they had me in high school. My mom was a senior. I think my dad was just out of high school. So they worked their butts off, and still made it to everything that I had. All my sporting events, anything for school programs, they made it to everything. So I kind of told Deanna, I'm like, let's get the majority of our work done before we have kids, and try and build, investments or whatever so that we can enjoy time with them. And that's what we did. I mean, there were lots of times with Nectarline Electric, the real estate apartments, and then the dumpster company, where I would wake up at 4 a.m, run to the landfill, dump the dumpster, go to work at Nectarlines, deliver the dumpster right after work, and then go to the residential properties, and rehab them or whatever, get home at midnight and do it all over again. So, I mean, the first part of our marriage probably wasn't great or maybe that's why it lasted so long.
Right, yeah, you never know.
We weren't there for the beginning, and now we have kids, so we're busy with that. So when the kids are gone, I don't know what it'll look like, but we'll see. But no, I think we'll be good together even as empty nesters. Yeah. But now, I mean, I've got the freedom. We both coach sports. She coaches my daughter's basketball team. I coach my son's baseball team, and I did football for a while too, which I love coaching. That's probably more rewarding than anything, working with the kids and seeing them grow up. And you've done it too, so you realize
very
it.
Rewarding.
So, yeah.
You're on council in
Frankenmuth City Council. Yeah.
How'd you get involved in that?
One of the previous clerk in Frankenmuth, his son and my son are good friends. And after I left Nectarline, I was talking to him, about that and the transition. And he's like, I was talking about the youth programs in Frankenmuth. And I mean, as great as Frankenmuth is, and it seems like we have everything, there's no space for youth programs. I mean, there's such a demand for the space that's there that the youngest kids don't get the opportunities, to utilize it. So my big thing was I wanted to get on something to help improve the Parks and Recs department. And there wasn't really anything for that. There was a Parks and Rec committee, but they were kind of tied with what they could do. And it kind of all led up to city council is the one who controls the budget and stuff, So he's like, if you want to do anything, he's like, the planning commission and the city council are the two that have the most effect on everything. Right. So I joined the planning commission first, and I've been on that for, it's got to be 12 years now. Time flies.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And then after 4 years of that, I ran for city council, and I won the third seat by 14 votes.
Oh, okay.
So there were, I think there were 6 of us. No, there were 5 of us going for 3 seats, and 2 of them were lifelong Frankenmuth, residents. So they got a ton of votes, and then the other 3 of us, we were within 14 votes, and I think the other one was maybe 200 behind us. But yeah, so that's been 6 years now. So I've had one, uncontested re-election after that. And so I'm up in 2 years, from now for another term, and I'll probably stay on. But
and you just lost your manager, Marianne
the
Ackerman.
mayor,
the mayor. Sorry, the mayor. Yeah,
that was shocking because it happened so quickly. She found out she had lung cancer, I think the day or 2 days after Christmas, and then died pretty quickly after that. So passed away pretty quickly. But she was amazing. She was elected mayor at the same time that I was, so I got to serve the last 6 years with her.
Oh, okay.
And I've learned so much from her. I've had mentors throughout my life, and she was one that all of my mentors were kind of business focused, and she was public service focused, which was a different, shift in my mind. And it was amazing work with her. I got to sit next to her, the city council was on this table, and I was always next to her. And when she'd lose her place, I'd help her find it and stuff, because there's so much. It seems easy, but there's so many meetings leading up to the city council, like the public meeting. Well, they're all public, but there's a lot that happens. Some happen in the morning, some happen before the official one, So there's so much leading up to that we talk about, and then you get to the actual one, and we kind of move through quickly, and it's there's not much discussion because we had it all previous to that, but it was amazing because she would always go out and talk to everybody in the audience beforehand. Is there something you want to talk about? If they did, but they were nervous about it, she would.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, you don't really hear that at all.
Yeah. So she was, from her being a superintendent to working at Saginaw Valley State University with the teacher program there. I think it's Gersdecker program, to city council. Her whole life was dedicated to people. And I guess, as coaching, you kind of are too, but it's a small group, I've learned from her that everybody's important, everybody's story is important. And I think, a lot of the articles you read after she passed, that's what everybody said, she listened to everybody's story and truly listened, not just sitting there like, thinking of other things. She really listened, and I learned a lot from her. It was a great 6 years.
Is there a new mayor yet or no? Or is this
There's a mayor pro tem, Tom Meyer. He's a really good councilman. And if we would have voted him as mayor, he would have lost his council seat, which he wasn't up for election. So there would have been 4 running for election right now, and we would have risked losing a good member of the council, So it was actually a divided vote. Some people wanted to put him as mayor. Some of us, didn't want to risk 4 seats changing over, because with a changeover, it's complicated. We run so well together right now because we've been together for a long time.
How is a mayor different than like a city manager?
Okay, so
because not everybody has a mayor.
Yeah. So the mayor is kind of the top of the org chart, and then city council is below. So we've got 6 council members and 1 mayor. And then the city manager is the next in the org chart. So she takes basically the mayor in the council's direction, and then implements with the rest of the org chart, what we want as far as.
So does the mayor have a vote on council or no?
No, I always thought that she did, or the mayor did.
Yeah.
But I found out recently they don't.
Oh, okay.
They're always the one to bring the motion to the floor,
or
ask for a motion to be brought to the floor, And I always thought she didn't she didn't say yay or nay because she knew what her vote was, and she was just including it with everybody else. Right. But it was just because the mayor doesn't have a vote.
Oh, okay.
So I found that out after she passed because I asked, because they were asking, on council, who is anybody interested in being mayor before we go outside to a possible outside.
Was your wife candidate. Do not raise your hand. Do not raise your hand, Chad.
Yeah, no, my kids wanted me to. They thought it'd be cool, but yeah, no, the mayor has, because you're a representative of the city. So, I would have had to wear lederhosens and tap the kegs at all the festivals.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it, no. But
sounds like an Adam Beerline role.
It does. Yeah, I wouldn't look as good as he does in lederhosens, but yeah, he would be a good mayor. But he lives outside the city, obviously, but he would be a good one. But no, it's it's more than just directing the focus of the government. It's also being the face of the community,
Yeah.
that it's a commitment to be mayor, and I would have probably missed some of the kids' events and stuff, so I wasn't interested in it. Maybe when they're out of high school, we'll see.
Yeah.
Never know what the future holds, especially for people like us, because we're all doing something different every day.
And that comes to my next question. What's next for Chad Ross? And
me? All the goals that I made for myself when I was younger, like, my cousin Doug killed in a car accident. I mean, he was my best friend, my whole life, and then he was killed in a car accident. And after that, it impacted me more than anything. And some of the stuff that happened after it, I realized that I was only 20, so my thinking wasn't what it is today. And I thought, man, if everybody had enough money, none of this would be a problem, after his death, So I always thought money was what you had to drive for. And I realize now it's not. It helps, but I set goals, and, I kind of met them all early, realized that, there's so much more. So I'm probably turning more to like a Marianne Ackerman, where I want to help people more than, benefit myself for things going forward.
That's good.
So I don't know what that looks like. Right now it's helping, wealthy business owners transition tax efficiently. So where that goes in the future, I don't know. I'm the CAN Council, the Child Abuse and Neglect Council is a big thing for me and my wife. Anything related to kids, whether, it's getting them active through sports, so childhood obesity becomes less of an issue, to, like the child abuse and neglect. When I owned the apartment buildings, I saw a lot of that, and it really affected me. And not so much from the kids' standpoint, but I always had like 2 or 3 apartment units that I wouldn't charge rent for, and I'd give to the Underground Railroad to put abused, mothers and their kids into it. And that was eye-opening, because I thought I was helping solve a problem, but they always brought the boyfriend back in, So how to figure that out, I don't know, but I know, down the road, I want to be a part of helping that problem, I guess. So.
Well, good. Anything else you want to talk about today before we exit?
I don't know. That was a lot. I don't even know. I don't even know how long we've been here for, but the meetings I have usually go for an hour to 2 hours, so I have no problem talking for a couple hours. So.
Well, I know there's one last thing on our notes here is crypto. Is that still a thing?
It is now because of what it's done this year, but I think the technology under crypto, and not like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is just a store of wealth and something you can spend, but the Ethereum and a lot of the other blockchains that have been developed actually have technology under them that you can build off of. So I think there's value in that in the future, especially in banking. Everything can happen faster.
Do you think we'll eventually get to 100% digital currency?
I don't see why not. There's a lot that hope. You have to admit, there's an underlying economy of cash, that would go away because everything would be digital. So, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
I think the government absolutely wants to go digital because then they know every dollar of income for everybody, and the taxes would be trued up, to what they should be. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think we are going to have it. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that remains to be seen. But but cryptocurrency is. Most of my clients have some investment in cryptocurrency. It's not huge. It's purely speculative, and who knows where it's going to go. But it was at 19,000 last year, and it's hit 74,000 this year, I think. For a Bitcoin,
that's crazy.
For one Bitcoin. So yeah, I've tried it all. With Brick House, I try to make an investment in whatever my clients are, just so I have an understanding of it. I've done everything from owning it to I actually have a crypto mining facility where I mine coins, and it's really expensive. It was eye-opening, and my timing was horrible.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
I don't know. I've always been interested in like money in different ways. Not interested in money, but different ways to make money.
Yeah.
That weren't traditional. So I guess I go down a lot of rabbit holes.
It's just hard for like blue collar Corey to get my mind around it. That's why real estate's been good for me, because it's a tangible object. Yeah. Like I know what it is. I know what needs to get fixed. I know what I can get for it. I know my taxes. I know no. Like I can, in my mind, I can tell you what my profit is over 10 years. You know,
Yeah.
like how does somebody like myself feel comfortable to, you know, whether it's investment or some kind of crypto?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a leap of faith at some point, or
It is. I mean,
the numbers don't lie, right?
Right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you got to show return. I mean, there's.
Or not. I mean, in my mining, I don't have a return in crypto mining yet, but that's because I literally did. And again, you know, not knowing what you don't know, I started the crypto farm like 3 months before Ethereum switched the way they mine their coins or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Ethereum was about the only way to make a profit in it. And once I hit that date, which I knew was coming, but every time they said it's coming, they pushed it out a year. So I'm like, well, they'll push it out another year, you know?
Yeah.
So 3 months later, no, they actually hit their target and and stopped it. So now it's not profitable, but it's good to try different things and learn.
Yeah.
Because everything I do, I learn something new from.
And some things that are a long haul, it's not.
Yeah.
You're not going to get an instant return on some investment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started the mining, Bitcoin was at 50,000. Then it went to 19. So you mine a coin, and then you usually transfer it to a more stable coin. So I was transferring everything that I was mining to Bitcoin because that's more stable. So I was buying at 40 to 50,000, you know, a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're buying fractions of a Bitcoin. It's not like I don't even own a whole Bitcoin. I haven't mined a whole Bitcoin yet, you know. But it went from that to 19,000. So here I was, you know, losing because of all the money I put into the mining equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a return on that yet. And then what I did have a return on, lost 75% of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, now it's back to 74. So now I'm, you know, I'm to the upside again on the Bitcoin that I've mined, but I'm still haven't recovered all my costs for the equipment.
So before we exit here, you're going to start a podcast? Or that's your goal,
That's
right?
my goal. That's why I'm here today. To see your equipment.
And that's going to be primarily on exit strategies and informational stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be the Advanced Business Partners. I don't know what the name is, podcast or whatever yet, you know, but it's going to be focused on exit planning. And the business owners don't understand. They've worked on building the business. And it's like I say, whenever you do anything, you have to have the exit in mind before you do it. So, and most people build their business without the exit in mind. You know, they're just building to create an income for themselves and a lifestyle for themselves, whatever it is, you know. And then they get to that point. So educating people, because the biggest issue we have is they come in too late, you know.
Yeah.
They're ready to retire now, and they come in too late. So
it's like you said, I want to retire at the end of the year, and you're like, no, you got a couple more years here, buddy.
Yeah, so getting an educational piece, and from what we've seen, there's not really that out in the market right now.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to create something fairly new or something that hasn't gained traction for whatever reason, and get the information out there.
So how do people contact you right now? Do you have a website that we can direct you to?
Oh, man, we do.
Or which one would you like us to?
Yeah. No, the Holvick and Associates.com is probably the best one.
Okay. Well, good. I appreciate you coming in today.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
And I have to say, just to wrap up, thank you. You designed our house. Get compliments on it all the time. You took my wife's napkin drawing idea, you know, and made it a home. And, and we love it.
Yeah, you've even renovated again a couple times in a few spots.
Yeah, well, my wife likes changing things.
Yeah.
The footprint hasn't changed, just the look of the interior.
No, even the backyard, that's all transitioned into a little oasis, a little getaway from your home.
Yeah, we love that. We got a basketball court and a outdoor living room area and a pool and stuff. So kids love it.
That's one thing I've noticed since COVID. People are really investing in their backyards and their outdoor living space, because essentially it's an extension of your house.
Of your house, Even though we're in Michigan, so we'll only get it for 3 months of the year. But
the only thing that I regretted on your house is we designed a two-way fireplace. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was inside the living room and then outside.
Yep.
And then the city shut us down on it. They said we couldn't do that. I was just like, so sad.
I think we can do it now, though. So
You're on council. You made a new ordinance.
But something to that effect. So, we can do it now. We figured out a way to do it. We'll probably add it, but right now with the vault or whatever below it, because it was such a structure to build that in the future. It's our wine cellar now. So
that turned out good too.
It turned out good. Yeah. No, the whole house. I mean, you did a great job on it, and I tell everybody about it whenever they say, you know, they compliment us on the house.
Yeah, because you did a stucco siding, like a EFIS siding. I was like, man, that's kind of weird. That's going to stand out, but actually, it's perfect for your house and in that neighborhood there.
Yeah, so. The design, everything, you know, the prairie style roof and stuff, you know, the low pitch roof, it looks good. you know.
Yeah, good. Thank
We'll
you.
get lots of compliments.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for being on the show.
No problem.
Thanks, sir.
Congratulations on this.
Thanks.
Yep.